All right, so last night they tweeted out that there is going to be 2 patches coming through to fix various issues as well as do some weapon balancing. As of this morning, we actually got the patch notes for the first part of it, which is for the weapon balancing. That means probably later on, hopefully by Friday, that they'll have the one with the graphical issues that kind of mess up your gun, and that's more of a PC specific issue. And I've already gone through and tested all the changes that are in the patch notes to give you some more accurate information on what is actually happening and if they actually nerfed the Bruen into the ground. If you do enjoy the video, let me know by hitting that like button. Goal on today's video is 2,000 likes, and if you're brand new, want to find your way back for more Call of Duty content, just make sure you subscribe with notifications on. So this one's specific for Modern Warfare and Warzone August 11th update, and this is for weapon tuning. So this goes back to that initial tweet where they said there's going to be 2 updates. This just happens to be update 1 of 2, which, like I said, hopefully we get that one later this week. General fixes: fix for an issue where explosive rounds on the right tech could still be equipped in CDL modes, which obviously they don't need that. Fix for an error players could receive when opening the weapon armory. Fix for an exploit in the shooting range trial. Apparently you're able to kill yourself and you get max XP instead of actually doing the challenge. I'm not sure exactly why that's an issue, but apparently that was one that was worth fixing. Then the FAL, it actually received a nerf and a buff, which is going to impact gameplay primarily for Warzone. And when it comes to multiplayer, you won't see a significant difference, but we'll look at how the damage changed. Increase headshot damage, 2 hit at range with 1 headshot versus before at range you had to land 2 headshots to get the 2-shot kill. So that is a buff. Then they reduce near damage for the limbs and lower torso, always now get a 3-shot, which before you could get a 2-shot if you got chest shots because it'd be like 70 plus damage. Now you're going to get a always get that 3-shot kill. So that part is the nerf, and that's the part that made it overpowered within Warzone. We're going to look at the actual damage values. For the Holger, they increased the damage range and increased ADS speed, so that made it faster. ADS is faster. Then we got the Bruen, it reduced the damage range. It was actually a pretty significant nerf, at least in my opinion. We'll see how it actually plays out within Warzone, but overall it looks like a pretty significant nerf so far. I think they'll end up retouching it again, maybe increase the recoil a little bit more, and that'll be probably one way to solve it. But obviously mouse and keyboard don't even have, it's so easy on mouse and keyboard that we'll kind of see how they end up balancing it out. But I think you'll see it kind of switch over to a kilo meta, which has already kind of been there in the first place. M91, increased near damage. So there's 2 damage drop-offs right around 45 meters. So all the damages within 45 meters are what's supposed to got that damage increase. And then increase ADS speed, which means it's faster. So now let's actually look at what actually changed in game. So this was the first test I did, was for ADS speed. We can see what it looks like for the M91 and the Holger. What ends up happening is typically how you check ADS speed is you go up next to an object, and when you ADS, that you get a prompt on screen that says, hey, you know what, you're aiming down sight, you can mount the weapon. So basically you go to 1 frame before that, so it keeps all the measurements consistent, and pretty much you go until the background stops moving. So there's a back part of it. Obviously the gun will still move and have a little bit of wobble to it, but overall you're looking for that difference in change when the background actually stops moving. And that usually happens right around here. You can see that the background's shifting, and then it stops and it doesn't keep shifting, but the gun still moves even in these frames. But the thing we're looking for is that background to stop. So right there is when the background stops, right around the 417, 434. And we'll look at how that compares to what they did, because that is an improvement, even though that is incredibly slow. We can look at the same thing that we have going on over here for the Holger. We go through to the 1 frame, we carry that through, and then we end up with an ADS speed of right around, what is that, 350 to 367? Right in there, maybe right around there. So that's where the ADS speed sits. And now we'll look at how that compares with the damage values of all the other changes that happened as well. So pretty much what I did is I took all the pre-patch values and then I'm comparing them to the post-patch values based on what they said changed. So when it comes to the FAL, they actually modified the headshot. You can still get the 1 headshot up to 20 meters. Obviously you can extend that with attachments, but they dropped the damage by 5 there. The chest shot went from 78 down to 58, so that's a significant nerf, and that's primarily where Warzone is going to be affected, because you can get the 2 chest shots and a headshot, and that's enough to down a player. But now you end up with an issue where this ends up being maybe 120, that's not enough. You need to get 3 chest shots and then a headshot to get the down. So it actually, in effect, added an extra shot when it comes to Warzone, which will drop the time to kill. It'll still be incredibly fast. Requires a little bit more skill, but you're not going to get quite as insta-melted on the regular. The only way you're going to get the 3-shot kill is if you get the 2 headshots and a chest shot. So they modified that balance quite a bit there. And you can see the headshot, you actually get more between the 20 to 20 to the 45 meter range. You can see they bumped that up by 20 damage. They kept the chest shot the same and the body shot the same, or pretty much the limbs. And then when we get the further damage drop off, the headshot again is 69. So it should perform better at the medium to long range than it did before. And then up close, it's going to require a couple extra shots. So I don't think this is going to be enough to fix it, because it's still kind of broken if you can have a good trigger finger at the close range, because the TTK is still insane, but a little less broken and probably not as big an issue, especially since it's not a floor loot weapon on the regular like it was in Season 4. For the Holger, they said they increased the damage range, and they did. For the close range, they bumped it from 45 up to 48. And for the far range, they bumped it from 65 up to 70. So you're going to see those numbers translate over here. And then we have the overall ADS speed went from about 400 down to 350 to 367. Obviously, with frame rounding at 60 FPS, that's about as close as I can get. For the M91, it looks like we ended up getting increased near damage, which ends up being the case. You can see the damage values here, but I think this is going to go basically unnoticed. You got 46 to 48, 34 to 35, 31, 32, and then the secondary damage, nothing changed. So at the medium to long range, no difference. And then the ADS speed went from 450 down to 417 to 435, somewhere in that range, which again is around a 20 to 30 millisecond reduction in ADS time, which is a huge difference, especially when we're talking about in-game. But overall, I don't think the M91 is going to get any extra love because of this patch. Then here's where the Bruen comes in. Here's the Bruen got hit with the biggest nerf out of all these, but we'll see if it actually affects how effective it is once you start stacking attachments, because this one got a reduced damage range. And you can see right here, it went from 41 meters for the close range down to 32. So it's a huge chunk. And then for that further range, it went from 56 down to 47. So the middle range goes from, instead of 41 to 56, goes from 32 to 47. And then the furthest drop off is 56 and 47. But the damage values are still essentially the same. Nothing changed there. So pretty straightforward patch notes. I'm glad they nerfed the 2 weapons that I thought they'd nerf. Really surprised about the buff, but I think that balances out the FAL and the reason why it wasn't used before it ever got its first buff. So we'll kind of just have to see and wait and see how it plays out. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, let me know by hitting the like button. And if you're brand new, want to find your way back for more Call of Duty content, just make sure you subscribe with notifications on. Appreciate all the support. Thank you for watching. As always, have a great day.